All right, well, welcome back. Here's week 2. Week 2, 4 Ways to Success. And the first thing we need to do, we need to talk about what you were assigned to do at the end of week 1. I gave you very specific tasks that needed to be performed during the next 7 days. So let's address that very quickly. You know, what I'd like for you to do, and we're not going to do it together, obviously. You're watching this. You need to do it on your own or maybe with a group of people who are watching this. But you need to ask yourself these kinds of questions. What challenges did you have and what rewards were you experienced with from the activities I gave you specifically? When you added names, when you went out there and tried to get a name and address, what happened? What was the challenge? What was the stumbling block? What was the difficult part of that? What did you find that, wow, this is a little easier than I thought? What were the things that made you feel pretty good about what you did? The phone calls, the handwritten notes, the market study. You know, what was the difficult aspect of doing a market study? You know, what was the rewarding aspect of doing a market study? You know, so those activities, that's really important. And what one idea did you get? I hope you take the task seriously, because you're not just watching this DVD series so that you can hear me, here's what you do and then don't do them. You need to go out and do the activities. Once you do the activities, then you need to ask yourself the questions, what did I learn from the activities? You know, what was it that I did that I really enjoyed? What was the part that I struggled with? And so that's a key component to going through this program. Does that make sense, by the way, to you? Because without that, I question the value of this program, quite frankly. Well, week 2. Week 2, we're going to talk about some things like, I'm going to show you my first year's business plan. I'm going to show you my first year's plan. It's embarrassingly simplistic. Understand my background. I never went to college. I went to Vietnam instead, part of that generation. I was a policeman for 7 years. And so when I came into the real estate business and they asked me, well, you need to write out your business plan. And I said, oh, I'm happy to do that. What is that? And they explained a business plan to me, and I said, okay. See, my interpretation of a business plan was nothing more than at the top of the page, how much money do you want to make? And then the rest of the page, what do you got to do to make it? And so my first year's business plan, I only wrote down 8 things that I was going to do. I made a real fundamental decision. And maybe it's really important that you hear this at this stage of the program. Here we are just entering our second week now, got our feet wet. You're getting to know my style a little bit and what I'm going to have you do. Maybe the 2 most important decisions I made was, number 1, as I watched other agents in my first few weeks and I saw all the activities they were doing. Remember our conversation, how I shared with you I went to lunch with the agents and heard all the things they did, and I was overwhelmed by all the things they were doing. The first decision I made in my real estate career was this one. I decided to do fewer things than most other real estate agents, but once I decided which things I was going to do, I made a commitment to do those things very well and very consistently. So what I want you to hear, do fewer things, but do those things well and consistently. So well and so consistently, you become known for them. And then I'm going to share something with you that I've seldom shared with audiences. And quite frankly, there's just so many ideas I want to share. I don't have enough time. But it is burning right now in the forefront of my mind, and I want to share it with you right now as we start week 2. I also believe one of the key reasons that I had more than my share of success in this business, perhaps, is because I made another fundamental decision. As I looked at the different ways to become successful in this business, and I watched other real estate people, some do well, some not so well. A lot of people just mediocre. What I accepted was that, and I'm going to see if I can say the words, because I hardly ever say these words out loud, so I'm going to see if I can say them so it'll make sense to you. Ready? I decided that I would try never to make a decision, a business decision, based on the fact that in order to succeed with that decision, that it was dependent on me being the exception to the rule. I'm going to say it again. If in order for me to succeed with this activity, I had to be the exception to the rule, then I was bound and determined not to go there. Does that make any sense to you? Some of you are still struggling a little bit with it. And I understand it's difficult for me to put it across in words. Here's what we're going to talk about. When I say have a business plan, I only wrote down 8 things to do. All these years later, all the countries I've been to around the world, sharing ideas with people, I've decided that of the 8 activities, 4 of them are as valid today as they are when I first did them years and years ago. 4 of the 8. And I'm going to show them to you. And I'm going to see if I can make more sense of what I just said about 60 seconds ago. You see, this is my first year's plan. You know, many years ago, that's how much money I wanted to make my first year by quarter. And I'm going to kind of blow it up so you can see a little more clearly. Those are the 8 different activities that I decided to undertake. And I said I had 8. Of those 8, I said how many of them were just as valid today as they were years ago? 4. So I'm just going to mention the 4. The first one is direct mail. Almost every big producer in the industry does monthly direct mail to their database. The second one of the 4 activities, you've got to drop down a few, is expanding my sphere of influence by 1 person per day. The vast majority of most successful people I've met in my tenure in this business are very good at actively adding people to their database. Some of you watching this series right now, you've been selling real estate for a long time. One of the first things that experienced agents quit doing consistently is continually adding more names to their database. Is that a true statement? You've got to always add fresh blood. You've got to keep a constant flow of people coming into your database. The third activity are phone calls, 10 calls a day. And the fourth one are personal notes, 10 notes a day. Those ideas today, I believe, have more impact today than they had 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So let's go back and revisit what I said. When I had to decide which activities I was going to do to try to increase the likelihood I would be successful with those activities, I tried, I'll put it in a maybe different slant. I tried my best not to undertake an activity that in order for me to be successful with that activity, I had to be the exception to the rule. If you make business decisions based on the fact you've got to be the exception, then you're doomed yourself to failure. If the vast majority of people, and all you need, I'm asking you to trust me. I've been around this thing for over 3 decades. I've seen lots and lots of successful people in many different countries in the world selling real estate. And I'm telling you that the common thread that runs amongst the most successful people is, number one, they mail something every month to their database. That is the common thread right there. If that's true, and you try to have success in this business without a direct mail program, you're trying to be the exception to the rule. Does that make any sense now? Why would you do that? It is beyond me why you would do that. It seems to me you'd want to increase the likelihood as much as possible that you would be successful if you undertook an activity. So why not undertake the activities that most successful people are doing? Are we on the same page now? And I know I'm just kind of pounding on this, but it's very frustrating for me to go around and talk to audiences and see people say, well, most of the really successful people are doing that, but I don't think I need to do that. I'd ask you the same question that Joanne asked me years ago. Who do you think you are? Why should you not have to do what the rest of us had to do? Is that okay if I say that to you? One of the very first speaking opportunities I ever had in a bordering state, my career was in Reno, Nevada, and my very first speaking opportunity outside the state of Nevada was in Utah for the Utah Association of Realtors State Convention. And I was on their superstar panel. It was my second year. I just finished my second year of my career. Sold 89 houses, and they said, hey, we want this guy to be on our superstar panel. So I go over there to Park City, Utah. And I am on a little platform with 4 other, big stars, and this is all new to me, and I'm feeling pretty excited about this, and my ego is feeling pretty good about this, and I'm thinking, I sold 89 houses, aren't I hot? And sitting right next to me was a lady named Joan, who's just a nice little lady like this, kind of like this. And she says, "Did you have a good year?" I said, "Oh, I had a great year. I sold 89 houses." She goes, "Oh, wow." I said, "How about you, Joan?" She goes, "Oh, yeah, I sold 216. Thank you. You see, we spent an hour and a half sharing just the best ideas we had, all 5 of us. My first experience. It's all done. 400 or 500 people in the room. And then people come up, talk to you privately, and that's what's pretty cool too. And they're talking for another half an hour. They finally all go away. And there's one guy standing over in the corner. True story. One guy, just kind of peculiar, just standing over there waiting. You could tell he's waiting for everyone to leave. Everybody's gone, packing up my stuff now, and this guy comes over and he said, "Okay, I got a question for you." I says, "Yeah." He said, "Everybody's gone now, so you can tell me this." I said, "What's that?" He said, "What's the real secret?" I said, "Pardon me?" He said, "I know you don't want to share the real secret with everybody, but they're all gone, so I thought I'd just wait till they're all gone. What's the real secret?" I had just poured everything I knew into that 90 minutes. And I was dumbfounded. And I found myself going, "God, did I not tell him the real secret?" And I said to him what everyone knows who's watching this. There's no secret. There's no secret to having success in this business. It's pretty well been invented. I didn't invent it. I learned from other people who are successful. You, in turn, are learning from people like me who have been successful. But you know what? Maybe that wasn't totally accurate years ago when I said to myself and to him, there's no secret. Maybe there is a secret. You see, if you look at that very simple business plan, and you see things on there like, I'm going to expand my database by 1 person a day, Monday through Friday. I'm going to send out 10 handwritten notes a day. I'm going to make 10 calls a day. I'm going to mail every single month. I've come to learn there is a secret. The secret is this. When you look at my business plan or other successful people's business plans with these kinds of activities, nowhere do you see anywhere on their business plan does it say, I'm going to try to call 10 people a day. I'm going to try to mail every month something to somebody. Why would success in this business be different in every other facet of our life? It's nothing more than self-discipline. And so now let me kind of layer in for you for consideration what I said in week 1. I became more mechanical. Example, if I'm going to write 10 handwritten notes a day, 5 days a week, 50 note cards, that means Monday morning I laid 10 note cards on my desk. And then 10 more, and 10 more, 10 more, 10 more. I had 5 stacks of 10 note cards. I got busy, just like you guys get busy. And today I only wrote 7. That's all I could get done. Busted my tail just to get 7 of them done. That meant tomorrow I had to write what? 13. That's what it means. If I was so swamped today, I only made 3 phone calls instead of 10. That meant tomorrow I had to call 17 people. And if you live that way and run your career that way, you'll only do that to yourself 2 or 3 or 4 times and never do it again to yourself. So it's 6:15, it's 6:30, and I want to get home because I'm tired, and I got 5 cards still sitting there from today. More often than not, I learn to just buckle up and just get those note cards written before I walked out of the office in 15 or 20 minutes to get it done. because I didn't want to face 15 of them next day. You with me on this? That's the secret. That is the secret. You simply do what you're